Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sports Site, and today we are joined by Sabeeha Majid. Welcome to the show, Sabeeha. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to be speaking about cricket. I know on my Twitter account it seems like cricket's my full-time job, but it's actually just a hobby. So it's really nice to have some time in the day to speak to,
Yeah.
others that
So,
are also very passionate about the sport. Thank you.
yeah. So today we will be discussing South Africa's squad. So, what's your initial thoughts on South African cricket team playing in Champions Trophy?
Yeah, I don't think there were any major surprises in the team. Although one player I would have loved to see is George Lender. I can't seem to understand why he's never been selected for an ICC tournament because I genuinely believe he could make a huge impact even in previous tournaments where we've fallen short. 2023 ODI World Cup, last year's final. I think if we had had someone in the team like George Linder, he might have been able, to get us over the line, especially in the 2023 semi-final when, obviously we had struggled for runs in that match. So perhaps if we had someone lower down the order, that could have contributed something significant. So I'm really disappointed that once again he hasn't been selected. Even though there have been quite a few injuries, I thought given his performance in the SA20, we would have seen him being brought in, but unfortunately that hasn't happened. But aside from the exclusion of George Linder, I don't think there's been any, surprises. It's definitely a team that all of us were expecting to see. Yeah, in with regards to my expectations, being a South African fan, we have hope every single time, but
Yeah.
you never really know how it's going to turn out. So always hoping for the best, but never ever knowing what to expect.
Yeah, obviously we have seen like South Africa has played many finals in the recent times, but couldn't cross the line,
Yeah,
unfortunately. My question is, what's your thoughts on the injuries? Like the main players, Kodze and Norkia, couldn't
yeah,
recover for Champions Trophy. So, what do you think that their absence will affect the team or not?
yeah. No, I'm actually quite concerned about the team in the bowling department. It's a very strange though because generally going into a tournament, I'm always concerned about the batting, but this time it seems that the batsmen are all in relatively good form. Especially Ryan Rickleton. Um, Demba's been good. Rassie van der Dissen's been good in the SA20. So I'm not very concerned with the runs, but I'm a bit concerned with bowling. I think I'm not sure what the problem is, but we haven't looked good in the bowling department, even in the warm ups.
Yeah.
We've been struggling to take wickets. There was that match against Pakistan in the Tri Series where we even struggled to defend the score of 350 plus. So I think that's a major concern. For me, I think Andrik Nortje is a major miss. So is Gerald. They both bowl with a lot of pace and it's threatening to the other to the other teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely not having them in the team is it's going to be a miss. Yeah, but I guess we'll once again be quite reliant on Kagiso Rabada and Marco Jansen as we have been in recent times. Yeah, but I am a bit concerned with the bowling.
You just talk about the bowling. Like we have seen that Pakistan chased the highest score against South Africa in ODIs at Karachi
Yeah,
Stadium. And yesterday we have seen Pakistan Shaheens versus South Africa warm-up match, and there they also
yeah,
concede 322 runs. So if
yeah,
we talk about the bowling, like there's only like backbone we can say Rabada and Marco Jansen. But if we see at the other bowlers, who do you think can be more effective? Like Vian Mulder is there, Nagidi is there, and in spin department we have like South Africa
yeah,
has I guess the most experienced spinners in the only team that South Africa has, the Shamsi and Keshav Maharaj. So if you look at the overall bowling of South African team, like they are experienced, but what do you think they are lacking as?
I think they're lacking intensity. Even if it's something that I've noticed in the past few months, actually, even the ODI series that Pakistan played when they toured South Africa a few months ago, there was just no intensity. After we get 2 or 3 wickets, the team just goes into a slump, and then there's no wicket taking options. You're not attacking the batsman. You're making it very easy for the batsman. So I think something that's been lacking is intensity and also just a lack of control. I know this space, for example, with Corbin Bosch. He bowls with a lot of pace, but at the same time, we also need control. And I think that's something that has been lacking. And I'm really hoping that these are things that can be sorted before Friday's match. Yeah, but overall, I'm not sure. I think maybe it's bowlers fatigue. In general, we've been seeing a lot of injuries, even with the other teams as well. Obviously, we know Australia will be without Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood, and then India is going to be without Jasprit Bumrah. So, and I've recently just seen the update from New Zealand that Lockie Ferguson is out as well.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking perhaps it's just bowlers fatigue, a lot of cricket that's now catching up with the fast bowling units of all the teams. It
yeah,
does
we
make
have
me feel
seen
better
Haris Roof
though that
also
it
got
does make
injury.
me, yes, it does make me feel better that Pat Cummins won't be there. So maybe that gives Australia a little bit less of a chance to win the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have seen the bowling issue, but do you think is there any captaincy issue as well while defending the target or while posting the target? Because we have seen South Africa to get some early setbacks, but after that they leak some runs in
Yeah.
ODI cricket mostly. Because under Adrian Markram captaincy in T20 World Cup, we have seen the team fighting out till the last ball. But how do you think under Temba Bavuma, is there anything wrong with captaincy or?
I think it goes back to what I said for the previous question. Just there seems to be a lack of intensity. Once we get a few quick wickets, it's just that it looks like we're not looking for more wickets. We're basically handing the game to the opposition. So again, I don't think it's a question of skill. I just think it's a question of intensity. Yeah, but again, maybe players are fatigued. There's a lot of cricket, especially T20 franchise cricket. The SA20 has literally just ended a few days ago. But I'm really hoping that, given that it's a tournament, everybody will bring their best. Yeah.
So let's come towards the batting order. Like we have seen South Africa's batting order dominating in the warm-up match and in the tri series as well. And what's your take on the top order? Like Rian is there, uh, Tony is there, and Resi Venderusan, Temba Buma. So how do you rate your batting order? And how can we forget Henrik Larsson?
I think if we are going to have any chance of winning this, Klassen is going to be a big, big, big role in that. And I've been trying for the past few days to put together my 11, but I'm struggling to put it together. But if I was selecting the team, I would open with Temba and Ryan Rickelton. And I would then have Aiden Markram coming in at number 3, and Lassie van der Dissen coming in at 4, or Lassie and Aiden alternating between positions 3 and 4. And then Heinrich Klaassen and David Miller alternating between positions 5 and 6, depending on the match context. And then I would actually go Corbin Bosch and Vian Mulder, just because I think that strengthens batting as well as bowling. And then obviously Kagiso Rabada, Marco Jansen, and Keshav Maharaj. So unfortunately, the players missing out would be Tony De Zorzi, Tristan Stubbs. I mean, it is really sad to actually leave him out
Yeah.
of any playing 11.
I wanted
Yeah,
to talk about him that he's not performing well
yeah,
recently.
yeah. No, I watched him throughout the SA20 and he just hasn't looked like himself. So I'm concerned that it might just be a mental thing because he hasn't looked confident from the moment he's walked out to the crease. You could see he's been very fidgety. He's not playing his shots with confidence. He's trying as hard as possible to get off strike. So I don't. Yeah, no, it is a big concern for us because he's a big player. He's a generational talent. So whatever it is that is concerning him, I hope that he gets through it very quickly, and hopefully during this tournament as well that he'll have a role to play because I do think he's a very important component of our team, not just the ODI team, but also the Test and T20 teams. Moving forward, he's obviously a youngster. He is about 23 or 24 years old, so we have about 10 to 12 years of him. So I'm really hoping that whatever it is, he will come out stronger on the other side.
If we look at the matches of South Africa, they have to play two matches in Karachi Stadium in
Mm-hmm.
Karachi, and one they have to play against Australia in Rawalpindi. Considering the surfaces, like if we have seen surface at Rawalpindi, it's a bit flat pitch. It's like we can say graveyard for the spinners, and
Yeah,
it's like the best pitches for the batter in Pakistan. And if we look at the Karachi pitch, the last match which we have seen between Pakistan and New Zealand, in first innings it was supporting the spinners, but in the last inning there was some dew and it wasn't supporting the spinners. So what do you think? Which surface and against the opponent South Africa will have the upper hand, depending
yeah.
on the conditions?
Um, Honestly, the pitches have played out very differently than what I was expecting. I was not expecting the pitches to be as flat as they were during the tri series. Yeah, so I feel like there isn't much in it for the bowlers. So you really, the bowlers really need to bring their A game because it's not just a pitch that's just going to gift you wickets. The bowlers are really going to have to be on their A game. And yeah, and again, I'm very concerned about our bowling attack. Because the warm up matches that we've played, majority of the bowlers have not looked threatening. I think in terms of control, Vian Mulder's probably been our best bowler. So I would really like to see him in the side. Yeah, but again, given that we're in a group with England and Australia, and they also haven't been playing very well. So I think whichever pitches we're going to play on, it's just going to depend on which team's bowlers can bring the A game on the day, because obviously Australia's also without Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood. And yeah, England has not been performing well either. So I think it really just depends on the day who is going to bring the A game. But yeah, the pitches have not played out the way I expected them to. I expected there to be a lot in it for the spinners in particular, but from what we've seen in the warm ups, there's been a lot in it for the batters, and yeah, the batsmen have definitely capitalized on that. I think players from all teams in the tri series had scored hundreds. Yeah, so I'm not sure if the pitch will play exactly like it did during the tri series, but if it does, I'm concerned overall for bowling attacks, and it seems like a lot of hundreds will be scored in this tournament.
Yeah, and especially in Group B, like there's team like
Yeah,
England, South Africa, and Australia, and
yeah,
when there is Travis Head, Henrik Klassen, and Josh Butler type of players, and they will
exactly.
smash
Yeah,
the bowlers. So
exactly.
it
So
will
yeah,
be an interesting one.
it looks like it's going to be very difficult for the
Yeah.
bowlers in this tournament. Yeah, which is very sad because I think I'm generally a lover of good bowling. And tracks that offer something to the bowlers as well. And also coming from coming from watching the SA20, where there was a lot of assistance for the bowlers
Yeah,
on the various pitches, throughout the country. So I think our bowlers will also struggle with adapting to the conditions,
mm,
because they've been playing in, at the Wanderers or at Centurion, where there's always something in it for the bowlers.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I guess we'll wait for tomorrow to see how the first game plays out, and
yeah.
then yeah. What are your predictions for tomorrow? I mean, New Zealand's been looking very strong. I think they're actually looking the strongest team out
Yeah,
of all
but if
eight.
we look at the intensity of the game and its first match in Pakistan of any ICC tournament
Yeah,
after since 1996, so I guess
yeah,
Pakistan has some edge on it. And
yeah,
as a Pakistani, I'm rooting for Pakistan at the end. So I guess Pakistan will have an upper hand.
yeah, yeah. I think the toss will also play a big role.
Yeah,
I think whoever wins the toss will probably be looking to chase.
whoever will chase the match, it will be more easier for him because the last match which we have seen, the Dew played a much role in the second innings.
Yeah,
So batting first, may whoever will bat first, they have to be dependent on their bowlers, and we have seen bowlers not doing much on these surfaces in Karachi or Lahore.
yeah, yeah. Although I do think New Zealand are generally quite a strong team whenever it comes to an ICC tournament.
Yeah,
You can always count on them to make it to the semi-final, if not the final. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how Group A plays out, given that India, Pakistan, and New Zealand are in the same group.
yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of people are counting New Zealand out, predicting that both India and Pakistan will make it out of the group. But I really don't think it's wise to ever write New Zealand off. I don't know when was the last time they didn't make it to a semi-final.
I guess last Champions Trophy. After that, they have made. Like 2017 was the last tournament they couldn't make it to the
Yes,
semi-final. After that, they played 2019 final, and they played 2021 final. They played 2022 semi-final, I guess, against Pakistan.
2023
Yeah,
semi-final.
2023 semi-final.
Oh,
So
2024, no.
no, they couldn't make it to the Super Six like Pakistan. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes. So I guess that was the last time.
yeah,
Yeah, but they've been quite consistent. I am hoping that um, England and Australia carry the bad form in the tournament, just so that, South Africa can somehow make it to that final four.
So my next question was same that if we look at the South Africa's campaign building to the Champions Trophy, they have lost like 11 ODIs. So what's your
Yeah,
expectation as a fan and as a cricket analyst you are? So what do you think that on which point South Africa can uh, win it and can qualify for the top four? Because we have seen that Afghanistan will be playing in Pakistan, and they
yeah,
are also not, like you can say that they are not an underdog now. They are a proper team for any
yeah,
competition.
yes, yes. No, I think our form in ODIs over the past year has been dismal. I think we've lost. I think we've won a total of three or four ODIs since the 2023 World Cup. So it's definitely not a record that we're proud of. And I would say different things have gone wrong in different matches. So in certain matches where the bowlers have performed, the batsmen have not. And then in other matches where the batters have performed, the bowlers have not. Also, perhaps selection is something that we maybe have not gotten spot on recently. Um, Also, I think there might have been an underestimation of the opposition at times. Very often it happens where a subcontinent team tours to either South Africa, Australia, or England, and then you expect to just roll them over, which is what used to happen perhaps in the past, maybe 20 or 25 years ago. But the times have changed, teams have progressed, subcontinent teams have gotten a lot better at, playing in the conditions in South Africa, Australia, and England. So I think sometimes it really does come down to um, under, underestimating your opposition, and you just don't have a plan B. So your plan A doesn't work out, and then there's no plan B, and that becomes very, very evident because things just started going wrong in the field, and then you can see nobody knows what's supposed to happen next. So I think it's a number of things. So team selection, a lack of intensity, and just underestimating the opposition, which I hope will not be a thing going forward, because I think if we've seen anything in the past few years is that any team is capable of winning anywhere. Teams like Bangladesh and Afghanistan that are generally not seen
Yeah,
as favorites in tournaments, they're also
yeah,
capable of winning tournaments. Afghanistan did make it to a semi-final last year in the T20 World Cup. So I think it really is just time that teams stop underestimating the other nations, cricketing nations that are now growing.
yeah,
That's what it's definitely a combination of things. So for this tournament, I'm really hoping that we get the selections correct. I hope we play players based on form and not, merely just based on, wanting to have a left hand right hand combination, or playing players based purely on their reputation. So I would definitely play Ryan Rickleton. I don't know if he will be played because, our coach hasn't made the best selections. But I really do hope that we see Ryan Rickleton opening, because he has shown that, he is a match winner. He just needs to be given that opportunity.
yeah. My question is like, I just want to talk about the tag which South Africa has got, the Chokers. Like, we have seen South Africa won the last ICC tournament in 1998 Champions Trophy, but afterwards we have seen them playing finals. Like, we have recently seen under 19 team also played final ICC
Yes.
women's under
Yeah.
19 team, and South
Yeah.
Africa played finals of T20 World Cup. But what
Mm.
are the main reason they couldn't cross the line? Like, it's
Yeah.
a fun
Yeah. I think,
statement that we gave them of jokers,
I
but
think,
that's not a real problem.
I genuinely think it's a mental thing, because it's something that's been weighing heavily on the team since the 90s, I'm sure, since 1992 or 1999, which is obviously still something that is very widely spoken about whenever there's a tournament coming up. There's always people that are speaking about the traumas of 1999, or, the miscalculation of the DLS, or whatever it is that went wrong in 2015. There were many misfeels, missed opportunities, drop catches. I think there was even a place where the stumps were broken with the hands instead of with the ball. So it's definitely it's a mental thing. And, we just haven't been able to get over that trauma. But I think we're seeing now with the newer generation of players, they're a bit more, well, obviously they went around for the older traumas, so it's easier for them, to now try and carry it forward. I think that's why we made it to the final of the T20 World Cup last year, because we had a fairly young team, or a team that with no baggage, basically. Obviously, there were players like Quinton de Kock or David Miller that had been in previous teams, that hadn't crossed over the line. But with the team in the 2024 World Cup, you could see that there was a greater hunger. We won a couple of close games as well. I think there was, the matches against Netherlands where we would we were put under the pump quite early and then we managed to get over the line. There was also another match against Nepal that almost went to a super over that we happened to win just in the last delivery. Yeah, so I think we're definitely seeing a bit of a mental shift now with the newer generation of players. Yeah, but I think throughout the years it's just been a mental a mental struggle and the baggage that's been weighing on teams, which I don't think is fair as well because I mean the newer generation of players shouldn't have the trauma of a 1999 loss. I mean some of the players were not even born back in 1999, but these things keep resurfacing. So I really just think it's a mental game, and yeah, but we have been seeing a bit of a shift lately. There was a lot more hunger, I think, in the 2023 ODI World Cup, and then also in the T20 World Cup. So yeah, I mean, and we have won a semi-final now, so so hopefully that's a sign of bigger and better things to come.
Yeah, obviously. My last thing I want to talk about South Africa players prioritizing league over international cricket. Why?
Yeah, no, I think yeah, that's definitely a very pertinent question at this moment in time. But it's obviously something that's not specific just to South Africa. We've seen players in other countries as well that seem to be prioritizing T20 cricket. I mean, I guess it's a number of things. Players unfortunately do want to make, as much money as they can, given that, their careers are fairly short. So I guess just to capitalize on as many leagues as they can. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't answer for the players themselves. Obviously, there are players that have shown greater hunger to play for the national teams. Yeah, but it's definitely becoming a concern. Not just in South Africa, but to all countries where it seems like players are starting to prioritize franchise cricket over playing for the national team. Yeah, but I just hope that we always have players that will never lose that hunger. You can see with younger players, they obviously do have a lot of passion and they do want to represent the country. But I guess it's also a thing of competition. Not everyone can play for the national team, and perhaps the only option then is to play franchise cricket. So I guess it also comes down to competition and which players are actually given the opportunity to play for the national team. But if they're not given that opportunity, then the likely option is to go the franchise cricket route.
Yeah. Last thing I want to ask to wrap up this. You are a huge David Miller fan. What's your expectation from him in this tournament?
Uh, you know, I love David Miller. Obviously, everyone who follows me on Twitter knows that. And he's always been a big player for us. He's been a big match winner. He's shown it, in all of the ICC tournaments that he's played. He's played very important knocks, most notably the World Cup semi-finals, 2015 ODI World Cup, as well as the 2023 ODI World Cup semi-final, which, in my opinion, is the greatest ODI knock by a South African batsman ever. So I think my expectation of him is nothing less. He should just keep doing what he's been doing because he has shown over the years that he is a massive match winner and he has a knack for performing in the big moments. Unfortunately, we couldn't get over the line in the in the T20 World Cup last year. But also we were up against Bumrah, who is
Yeah.
just Bumrah. There's not much of an explanation needed there. Bumrah is just Bumrah, and also, there was a very superb catch from Surya Kumar Yadav in that final over. So
Yeah.
I think if that catch hadn't been taken, the match could have still gone either way. It was just unfortunate that he couldn't get us over the line in that match, but still, he has played some very important knocks for us. And yeah, without his 100 in the ODI World Cup in 2023, we would have been bowled out for less than
Against
100. So
Australia, then
against
he scored.
Australia,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
So
so my expectation of him is the same. And I know that he always will give his best.
yeah. So thank you very much for giving us your time, Sabiha. It was great talking to you, and hope to see you again. Best of luck to South African team for the Champions Trophy. Those tune in, like, share, subscribe, and do visit our website, thesportsite.com. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.
Thank you. And please invite me back if South Africa win.
Yeah, sure.